In the early morning of November 26, 1983, a robbery took place near London's Heathrow Airport that would change the face of organized crime in the United Kingdom forever. It was a cold, dark morning, and inside the Brink's warehouse, the security guards were starting their shift, completely unaware of the horror that was about to unfold. This event, initially planned as a straightforward cash grab, would soon spiral into one of the most audacious and infamous heists in British history. What began as a plan to steal £3 million in cash quickly escalated into something far bigger, far darker, and far more dangerous. This is the story of the Brink's robbery. Brink's was a secure warehouse facility, a fortress located strategically close to Heathrow, one of the world's busiest airports. Its purpose was to store vast quantities of cash, precious metals, and other high-value items arriving in or leaving the country. It was considered almost impenetrable, but on that fateful morning, a team of 6 armed men, led by Brian Robinson and Mickey McAvoy, breached its defenses. They had inside help from a security guard named Anthony Black, who had provided them with keys and critical information about the warehouse's layout and security protocols. The robbers forced their way inside just after 6:30 a.m. They were violent, ruthless, and utterly determined. Their plan was to quickly overpower the guards, locate the cash, and be gone within minutes. The guards on duty were caught completely by surprise. They were brutally assaulted, tied up, and subjected to terrifying intimidation. One guard had petrol poured over him, with the robbers threatening to set him ablaze if he didn't cooperate. This wasn't a clever or subtle crime. It was raw, brute force intimidation designed to break the will of anyone who stood in their way. After securing the guards, the robbers demanded access to the vaults. They were expecting to find the anticipated £3 million in foreign currency. But when the vault doors swung open, they were met with a sight that none of them could have prepared for. Instead of just bags of cash, the vault was stacked high with shimmering bars of solid gold. In total, there were 6,800 gold bars, weighing over 3 tons, alongside uncut diamonds and a substantial amount of cash. The total value was staggering, over £26 million, which in today's money would be worth well over £100 million. It was a score beyond their wildest dreams, and it instantly transformed the robbery from a quick smash and grab into a logistical nightmare. The sheer scale of the whole presented an immediate and immense problem. How do you move 3 tons of gold? How do you hide it? And most importantly, how do you turn it into untraceable cash? Gold is valuable, but it's also incredibly difficult to sell in large quantities without attracting a mountain of unwanted attention from law enforcement and financial regulators. Each bar was stamped with a unique serial number and came from the prestigious Johnson Matthey refinery, making it easily identifiable. The robbers were street-level criminals, not sophisticated financiers. They were completely out of their depth. Faced with this enormous challenge, they had no choice but to reach out to the criminal underworld's elite. They needed professionals with experience in smelting, money laundering, and navigating the complex world of illicit finance. This is where the story takes an even darker turn. The gold needed to be disguised, its origins erased. The robbers enlisted the help of notorious gangster Kenneth Noy, a specialist in handling stolen goods. Noy orchestrated a massive operation to melt down the gold. The stamped bars were taken to a smelter, mixed with copper coins to alter their purity, and then recast into new, unidentifiable forms. This process effectively laundered the gold, making it appear as if it was scrap metal ready to be sold legitimately back into the market. It's believed that much of the stolen gold was gradually fed back into the global financial system through a network of corrupt dealers and international channels. Some of it was sold through legitimate jewelers in London's Hatton Garden district, while other portions were likely shipped abroad. The sheer audacity of the plan was matched only by its success. It's widely rumored that if you bought gold jewelry in the UK after 1983, you might be wearing a piece of the Brink's Mat Heist. As the police investigation, codenamed Operation Midas, got underway, it became clear that this was far more than a single criminal act. The robbery was the spark that ignited a violent and sprawling criminal empire. The immense profits from the gold were used to fund a new wave of organized crime, including massive drug trafficking operations, particularly cocaine, extensive property fraud, and contract killings. The Brink's money became the financial foundation for decades of criminal activity, fundamentally reshaping the landscape of the British underworld. But the gold also brought with it a deadly curse. Over the years that followed the robbery, a trail of bodies began to accumulate. Numerous people connected to the heists, from the robbers themselves to the launderers and informants, met violent ends. Some were shot in gangland-style executions, while others simply disappeared, their fates remaining a mystery to this day. It seemed that anyone who touched the gold was doomed. The list of victims is long and grim. Great train robber Charlie Wilson was gunned down in Spain. Hatton Garden jeweler Solly Nahum was shot outside his home. The violence was a stark reminder that in the world of high-stakes crime, trust is a commodity more precious than gold, and betrayal often comes at the highest price. British authorities launched one of the largest and most complex investigations in their history. Dozens of suspects were identified, and several key figures were eventually brought to justice. Mickey McAvoy and Brian Robinson, Two of the main robbers were convicted and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Kenneth Noy was also convicted for his role in handling the gold, but only after he fatally stabbed an undercover police officer who was monitoring his property. Yet, despite these convictions, the full picture was never completely uncovered. A large portion of the £26 million worth of gold was never recovered. Many believe it is still circulating today, hidden within legitimate bank reserves, private holdings, or even melted down into everyday items. The long-term impact of the Brinksmat robbery cannot be overstated. It didn't just enrich a group of criminals. It fundamentally altered the DNA of serious crime in the UK. The enormous influx of illegal cash provided the capital for criminal networks to expand their operations on an unprecedented scale. The level of violence associated with organized crime escalated dramatically as factions fought for control of the new illicit markets funded by the gold, marked a shift from traditional gangsterism to a more sophisticated, international, and ruthless form of criminality. Today, the Brinksmat robbery is remembered not just for the staggering value of what was stolen, but for the wave of destruction that followed in its wake. It was not a clever, elegant heist like you see in the movies. It was brutal, chaotic, and deadly. It was a crime born of greed and violence that left a legacy of murder and corruption. It serves as a powerful illustration of how a single event can have consequences that ripple through society for generations. The curse of the Brinksmat gold, as it came to be known, wasn't just a myth. It was a devastating reality for all who were drawn into its orbit. The story proves that sometimes, the most dangerous robberies are not the ones where the money simply disappears, but the ones where it never truly stops circulating, poisoning everything it touches. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's most infamous crimes, be sure to subscribe for more real stories that often seem stranger than fiction.